Today, we're going to be talking about our top 2023 trends. Every year, we come out with the top trends. You may have heard that we came out with 5 for our upcoming Career Jam, and for the next year, just topics that we'll be talking about and sharing information on to help you stay ahead of the trends and help you best take care of your clients. So, thank you for hanging with me here as we have all of our tech challenges today. Just was, just going to be that day. All right. So let me pull up our content here because I wanted to give you some detail about these trends, and I wanted to give them to you again on a slide so that it's a little bit easier to follow along. All right. Let's see if I can make this happen with our technology today. Yay! So today we're going to be talking about the top 3 trends in our 2023 trends that we just released last week. I want to give you a little bit more background on these and hear what you think about how these will impact your work and your clients' careers, because that's why we put together these trends. So it's trends that our audience is seeing, that our board is seeing, that are going to impact your career and your career work for 2023 and beyond. So we're going to dive in, give a little bit of data. I'd love to hear what you all are seeing on this. And then, as I said, we'll also introduce you to a few of our speakers for our upcoming Career Jam, where we'll dive into these a little bit more. And Career Jam's kind of a different event, so I'll give you a little bit of an outline of how the event works at the end of the presentation, so that if you're curious and you're thinking about joining us, you have a little bit more detail. So our first trend was hiring and job search technology. This was a topic from last year as well. So when you join this year's Career Jam, even if you couldn't join us last year, you're going to get the recording of Marvin Smith talking about Seek Out and similar technologies. We'll look at some of those visuals here in just a second, as well as Adrian Tan talking about some job search technologies and what those look like. And then we've got a few speakers in the works to talk about some of the new technologies again this year. Why is this a big deal, right? Why does it matter? It's really because this is a place that HR and actually venture capital, as we talked about last week, are investing. They're putting their money into these systems. And I just did an interview yesterday with Evan Sohn from recruiter.com. You can go check that out on my Career Confidant interviews. I'll find the link and drop it in here as well. But he was talking about how they're using technology to help them with the human interaction, or they're using technology to free their time to do more human interaction. So it's important that we remember this isn't something to necessarily get in the way of our client, although it's really recruiters trying to figure out how to best use their time, how to be available for more human interaction, and how technology can aid their human interaction. And hopefully we'll have a few of the speakers that I've reached out to that can confirm, and they're going to talk about how they're using this technology to help everyone through the job search process as well, and specifically how technology is aiding people with diversity, disabilities, neurodiverse issues. How do they prepare for an interview? There's actually some just powerful research on technologies that are being used to help people of all kinds, but especially people who might even struggle a little bit more with a virtual interview or an in-person interview. How can we help them prepare even better using some of these technologies? So I'm excited about that, and hopefully I'll be able to announce some of them soon. In the meantime, as I said, you'll get to hear a little bit about what's going on from the presentations from last year. This is a graphic that I actually put together using the JobVite data over the last 6 years. They've been tracking kind of off and on. It's not in every single year's report what social media recruiters are using. And this shows us that the social media recruiters are using is diversifying. So it's not about, Facebook has gone a little over LinkedIn. It's really not what it's about. People like to argue that, and we lose the point, right? The point is that recruiters are using anything and everything to connect to a candidate. And this was one of Evan's points yesterday as well, that they're out there trying to build community, trying to engage with community, not so that they necessarily find a client right now, but so that they have a pool, a funnel, if you will, right? A pipeline, whatever term you want to use, a community of people that they can pull from for the long term of their recruiting time, as well as the companies obviously investing that so that whoever the recruiter is has access to that community. And we're moving towards something that Alexandra Levitt kind of predicted more than 10 years ago now, this idea that your professional community is going to be your home because you're going to be moving jobs, moving companies every two, maybe even more years, every 2 to 4 years. And so it's not going to be that company that is your place, but it's going to be that professional association and professional community. And recruiters have figured that out, right? If they're embedded in the community for engineers, it'll be easier to recruit engineers over the lifespan of their career and for their company. So this is just a diversification. And, we don't have data for Slack and some of those other non-social media channels, but those are all blowing up too. Communities where people can engage with like-minded people and where recruiters can build those relationships and make it easier for them to have that rapport and invite people in to their community to work for them. So I'm excited that that is happening and that, we're starting to see that come to light. And we won't probably talk too much more about social media, although social media is one of the ways that the new systems go out and find people, like Seek Out, Find Them, new systems that are going out there. And as Evan said in my interview yesterday, grabbing their information from any available platform, any publicly available information to build that profile on his system so that recruiter.com can say, hey, recruiters, we will give you profiles of people that are matching your searches because we've got this technology that's going out there and scraping the web and bringing those platforms together. So if you bought Career Jam last year, or if you join us this year, you'll get this recording from Marvin Smith where he talks in detail about some of these technologies and what a just difference they're making for recruiters, but also then what that means for our individuals in the workforce. So that's our first trend. And that is such a powerful place for not just job seekers, but also people who are in their career, because a lot of this technology is being used and the ongoing management of careers as well. We've got new HR systems. He was talking about, or maybe I was talking to someone else, was talking about how the big EPOs and organizations that look at talent globally are stepping in to help companies be able to work around the globe, hire people from around the globe. And it's really just an exciting time, not just for the different ways that hiring is shifting, but also managing your career, managing remote employees, and all of the ways that that's going to facilitate employment for people moving forward. Although it's not directly related to hiring technology, we do have Lorraine Charles coming in to talk about her research in helping refugees get remote work and what that looks like. And then she's also been doing some research around the digitization of work and what that means for people who are going to work remotely and all over the globe. So I'm excited for her to come in and talk about, that the digital nomad isn't necessarily what we think it is, and just her research that she's been doing. She's out of Cambridge. So very excited for her to join us as well, kind of talking about this hiring and job search tech, and a little bit talking about the rise in entrepreneurship and gig work as she's working in that space. Okay, so our second one here then is this older workers and the new retirement. So this is the graphic that we saw in early 2021, mid 2021, where just a whole bunch of people are retiring, right? This was like the COVID retirement, people that didn't have to work anymore, people that couldn't go back to the workplace because they were worried about the health impacts. And then, of course, people that had such serious health impacts that they couldn't go back to work from COVID. And so you see this coming up, but then we see, and we showed this last week, the rebound, right? Where now we're back. We're talking about people are getting back into the workforce, but it looks a little bit different. And people are experiencing work differently. They're wanting to work differently, really at all ages, but definitely at the end of their working career. They want even more flexibility. They want to give back. They want to have that meaningful role while finding the flexible and different ways that they might be able to participate. And so we do have a speaker I should be able to announce later today, or maybe tomorrow, that's going to come in and talk about these new ways of working for people at the 50 plus age group. What does that look like, and what's shifting for them? They're coming back to work. Are they coming back to work in the traditional sense, or what is going on there? So then yesterday, I pre-recorded a radio show that will run next Monday with Dr. Michael Roizen from the Cleveland Clinic, talking about life expectancy, and just fascinating. You have to listen to it. He's a wealth of information on the life longevity side of it. So a little bit of careers, but a lot of it on kind of the health and longevity piece and what's going on there. And he shared that over the past year or two, we've experienced about a 2-year loss of life expectancy because of COVID, right? The big overall data that changed our life expectancy. However, in 20, well, no, 19, 20, 19, I can't remember what the dates are, but when you had the Spanish flu that everyone's kind of compared COVID to off and on, that the life expectancy loss then was 10 years. So because of that, we dropped 10 years of life expectancy. However, it rebounded quickly, and over the long haul, we still gain 2 years of life expectancy every 10 years. But Dr. Roizen shared that there are 14 different medical advancements coming about that are going to create an exponential growth in life expectancy to the tune of 30 years within the next 20 years. So this is huge, huge, obviously, for people, but also huge for the career space. I don't know if this is your experience, but when I was first starting out in the career space, they said, oh, we're going to have this huge talent gap, right? We're going to have this huge talent gap because there's a blue wave coming and everybody's going to retire, and there's going to be this huge talent gap. And that was probably for about 5 years. There was all this talk all the time about how this huge talent gap was coming. And I kept waiting for it, right? Kept waiting for it. And some of the mid-level professionals that I was working with kept waiting for it, right? When will we get our turn, kind of thing? And it's never happened, right? Because, although I guess you could say it kind of happened during COVID, because people are living longer, they're living younger. That was Dr. Roizen's phrase, right? That we're living younger. And so when we think about what we experience now and what we will experience when we're 20 years from now, 60 is the new 40, 80 is the new 60, whatever we want to say, that when you get to that age, it's not just that you're living longer, but that you have energy and purpose and that you want to contribute. And so what does that look like, and how do we help people plan to work longer, because they're going to want to stay engaged in the workforce for longer when their life expectancy is 30 years longer, right? And of course, Dr. Roizen and I were talking about how you stay healthy so that you are living younger and not just living longer. But it was fascinating that, we're going to see this huge life expectancy gain, and what are we going to do to stay healthy and to stay connected in our careers throughout that. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that from our speaker, and I encourage you to check out Dr. Roizen's interview. It will go live on Career Confidant Radio next Monday. Okay, so what else do we have going on here? Our third trend is all around the independent workforce. And the independent workforce, we talked about this last year, right, grew huge into 2021, that there was a new feel around it, that it felt like because people they wanted to be independent, they wanted to be contract workers, and how do we help them do that? Petra Zink is going to share on that topic. Rosario Cedrus is going to share a bit on that topic from South Africa, Petra from Australia. And then again, Lorraine Charles's work in the work with refugees and the digitization and remote work is going to fit in here a little bit as well. As I shared last week, you've got people starting businesses all around, this new place in life where we can have a side hustle easier. We can do this remote and just have a lot of flexibility. And then also, as we were talking in our career transition course yesterday, there's new models of career, right? A ladder's been gone for, I don't know, 10 years, but we've got a jungle gym, right? How are we navigating that? We've got a climbing wall where we've got to take a little risk and let go of something to get to the next thing. We're helping people navigate a new definition of career. And how do we help them do that? Where they may not be an independent contractor, but their work is going to flow like that every 2 years, a new gig, even if it is a W-2 employee job. So let's just talk a little bit about what Career Jam is, right? So we get together and we talk through these trends. We have a speaker that speaks about these trends. And so we have a speaker that talks about these trends. And then we go into discussion groups, and with a small group of your peers, you talk about what are you seeing? What solutions are people using to address that trend? So if you talk about entrepreneurship, how are you helping people decide if that's right for them? How are you helping them launch their business? What services or resources would you share? Then we come back together and debrief so that you can see what everyone else came up with. All of that's also collected by scribes and put into our annual white paper. So that's what the event looks like. You've got a presentation, you've got some time to really dig in with your colleagues, get to know people, network. A lot of people have met future business partners and longtime referral partners, colleagues at that in those breakout sessions. So if you have any more questions about that, let me know. If you are looking for your discount code, so if you have if you're a Career Thought Leaders Associate or you're part of our Career Industry Authority, you've got access to a discount code. Don't forget to go into your Mighty Networks group and grab that. Let me know if you need it. And we look forward to seeing you all there. Next week, we're going to go through the next two trends and talk about some of the other big things that are happening in the economic and career space. So we will see you next week. Thank you, everyone.